Welcome to our November facilities meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order. Let's start with a roll call, starting with Ms. Lohman.
Jennifer Lohman, present.
Robin Murphy, present.
Ross Whiting, present.
Mia Blitstein, present.
Charles Burdell Williams, present.
Daniel Schultz, present.
William Mulhern, present.
Zachary Epps, present.
Cool. And do we have Ms. Henry on virtual? Does she need to stay?
Pam Henry, present.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. First order is to approve the minutes from our October meeting. Can I get a motion to approve? Second. Wonderful, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Great, it is now time to turn this meeting over to Dr. Scriven.
Good evening, and just wanted to give you guys a quick update as to why I'm kind of sitting in the seat. I know you received an email from Mrs. Swigert, which probably should have been at some point last week, kind of giving an update on Mr. Holman. I just wanted to kind of give a little additional information. Last week, he was out with his wife, regular day, Friday, and just wasn't feeling himself. Rushed him to the ER, and on that Sunday, he had to have emergency surgery. Different situation to what we kind of encountered previously, where we kind of saw signs like just came out of nowhere. I actually spoke to him today. Sound really well. We'll start physical therapy on Friday. I just told him, because he wanted to start talking about work. I said, this is, and he called me because he's probably on watching right now. He was calling me about the presentation. I just told him, this is, don't worry about this. We will hold it down. Just take care of yourself. So I've not really had any conversation around return date and all of that. It's still, we're not even talking 2 weeks. Just really want him to do the physical therapy and really just take care of himself right now. If you're not aware, today was Mr. Sergio Stiletti's last day after 34 years in the district. Mr. Swigert, as well as myself, have had dialogue with him in terms of if the need arises, which probably it will. He does have a willingness to push in on a consult basis. As you guys are aware, Mr. Carter is not even 2 weeks in. As always, we're gonna navigate, be nimble, and keep things moving forward. So any questions? I just kind of wanted to give you that information. It's pretty straightforward, but I always want to afford you guys that opportunity. So that's where things are from that standpoint. So Mrs. Swigert was prepared to do both presentations. I did not want to have to put him through having to do that. We will continue to work collaboratively with supporting that office. Mrs. Swigert's really been pushing in. When I look at the mission statement and I look at the mission of Cheltenham School District, is to provide inspiration and resources for every student to achieve academic excellence and pursue their highest potential. I just think about a couple of the events that we've had, whereas if kids can't be in school, then that can't even be a reality, right? And if we go down to slide 3, Mrs. Swigert, it kind of highlights, we had a situation the 29th of October at Elkins Park, where both EP and our modulars, our Epic Center was impacted by a power outage, unforeseen, came out of nowhere. One of the phases did not come back on. And subsequently, I just really have to give kudos to the administrators, the teachers, and even the students at both Elkins Park and at Epic. They pushed through the day. We kind of had to go to old school because technology, smart boards, nothing was working. We actually had to pivot and go to cold lunches because the kitchen was not functional. But we pushed through. I don't know who the contact is, but I'm going to find out for Pico because they were really outstanding. They came out, did a temporary hookup because if we would have had them try to do the actual repair, it would have caused us to have to shut school down. And that was just, for me, always not an option. That's the last resort. So then they came out on November 9th, the next one, that was a Saturday, and actually did the full repair on the 9th. Have to give kudos to Mr. Carter and his team. I mean, they were spot on, fluid communication, and really saw the whole process through. So slide 3 and slide 4 are just kind of giving you guys the visual of really what that entailed. We did not, other than the original day, have any true impact on the instructional process. Then, I heard you guys, for those of you who were early, you can go to the next slide, Mr. Swarger, talking about Myers. So, you know, we had a situation at Myers where a leak was identified coming out of the back of the building and in the back cafeteria area. Called Aqua out. We were about 2 feet short from them owning it because it was more on our side. We had to subsequently own it, but you know, we were able to push through, keep the water on that Monday, I believe that was, and was it Monday? That was
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was-
Which was Monday?
This is almost like real time, right? Yeah, this is them, you know, coming out, probably having to go 6 to 7 feet deep. There were 2 parts of a pipe that were compromised that had to be replaced. You can actually go to the next slide as well, where you see the little green area. That was the trouble area. But again, the only thing that was impacted, we did have to close right at school for the after school program because literally when buses pulled off, they were out there and on it, and were done yesterday evening. So we had a smooth day today again, but baptism by fire for Mr. Carter. He's been in some scenarios where he's actually had to work through the weekend. This was identified on a Saturday, so he kind of left one scenario at EP to walk right into another one at Myers. You know, but things do happen, and we just try to be as responsive as we can to making sure that school's not impacted. So wanted to give you guys that insight. And the next slide is just referencing Glenside Elementary. The area identified, as you can see, was original to when the building was built in 2011. Definitely was a hazard, a safety hazard. Subsequently, we've had the company River Valley come out and do a complete reinstallation, as you can see reflected in those pictures there. So again, recess is important to our students. They need the resources to be able to do it in a safe manner, and we've ensured that that's happening at Glenside. Next slide, please. This slide is a grant, and I just want to give kudos to Principal Taylor and his teachers and other staff at Wyncote that secured a grant to do a sensory hallway, not just a sensory room. So this is really important, not just at Wyncote, but holistically. When you talk about emotional regulation, when you reference students being able to improve focus and attention, enhancing their motor skills, supporting their sensory needs. I mean, all of that was really at the heart of this project. So just wanted to showcase that, you know, we will have a time where as board members, you will be able to push into schools. That would be a nice opportunity while visiting to just experience that hallway. A lot of time and a lot of effort went into that with his faculty and with his staff. Next slide, please. So even in his absence, kind of want to give Mr. Holman a shout out for the grant that he applied for through the Public School Facility Improvement, DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development. Senator Haywood gave us the email a couple of weeks ago letting us know that we would be a recipient of a $1 million grant that could go towards the roofing project, specifically at the high school. So any money is good money. And I'm just excited about having that go towards areas which are compromised. This is one of the things when you talk about roofing that truly can impact the life of a school. Water can be extremely messy, and it's something that we definitely will address and give you guys further updates in terms of what that timeline is going to look like. That's going to be done in a phased approach, and we'll prioritize that and show you as we're moving through the process. And then the final slide, I'm actually going to kind of take the opportunity. Oh, you slid one in on me. You can skip that one. You want to speak to that one?
That one out. Move that one out.
Okay. Well, I have a different one. So like I said, that was me and Mrs. Swigert. He was teed up, and you can speak to this, but I kind of wanted, because you guys have been waiting, and it's going to be something that I'm going to start looking at myself personally because I'm curious. We had switched over to our FMX system, and what that is just a computerized maintenance management system. And I've been pushing the team to really take full advantage of that. So I've started doing my homework on FMX myself and just what all it can do and how we're going to start enhancing these reports that we really share with you guys. So first and foremost, it is a work order management system. I do want to start to show you guys the number of work orders that are actually being put in the system, what the completion rate looks like for those work orders. All of this can be done electronically in terms of as work orders are being pushed out, they can be prioritized and they can be assigned to the respective departments that would be doing the work. I think it would just be good to start taking a look at, you know, what does that look like for us on a monthly basis, just to go over that with you. There's also a preventive maintenance management component of that, which really highlights, you know, it's two phases of really capital improvement and the facility side. You guys experienced what we call the reactive or the responsive phase. Like Myers was a reactive situation. We had a failure or breakdown. It had to be addressed. The flip side of that is really trying to be strategic in terms of identifying through preventive maintenance, what are the routine things that we need to be doing to expand life or be proactive rather than reactive. And I want to start pulling some of those reports where we really show you what that looks like. And the piece that will help with that, there's a reports or data analytics piece which will kind of give insight of what's happening within the respective departments. What, a lot of you had wonderings about the finance, like where's the money going? We can kind of pinpoint where our monies are going, what our hot spots are that we need to try to stay on top of. So I wanted to elevate that and just let you know that as we start moving through, we're going to get a little more explicit about the use of this system, and me and Mr. Carter will kind of go hand in hand with unpacking this. It'll be a good time to kind of onboard and familiarize itself with really being a gatekeeper of this system, so we're getting everything that we should be out of it. And then Mrs. Margaret, if you want to just speak to your Vista slide.
Yes, this is something Tim and I were working on before he went out. This is the asset count Bureau Veritas, the software the district invested in years ago to catalog all of the largest piece of equipment in the district, assign them a catalog number, a useful life, and then objectively we gave them a raw score, which is used as a guide to determine when things need to be replaced or things need to be addressed. So we were putting this schedule together for every building. We were assigning a year in which we were hoping to tackle some of the issues and build it into the operations budget. So I just wanted to give a snapshot of what that looked like. Some of the metrics that go into the raw score: safety, physical condition, educational impact, the age of the item, and the original useful life. Some of the items in this list are still in good condition, even though the system may be indicating it needs to be replaced. So obviously we're not going to take something that's working fine, that's been regularly maintained over the years, and replacing it until it gets closer to obsolescence. So sometimes the software recommends a replacement date, and sometimes we push that based on its health. So this is listed by building, description, raw score of the condition of the asset, a replacement, a suggested replacement from the software, the reason, whether it's a life cycle renewal or a safety issue or accessibility issue, the estimated cost, which is somewhat dated. This was done in 2017, so things have changed quite a bit since then. And then we assigned a year. So is this something we want to tackle in 24-25? Is this something we want to push to the next 5-year window? Or is this something 2031 to 2035 that's pushed even further? So once we get through this report, once we develop what we want to put into our budget for next year, we're hoping to make this a regular report that's pushed out by facilities on a monthly basis, even if there's minimal changes. I know Tim's been working off this report. Even things as simple as the Myers bench he talked about 2 weeks ago was on here. So he was working down that list. We were working down that list and tackling some of these items. So that was it.
And even though this is an older report, you have the ability to go in and put in what inflation would be over years, and it will automatically adjust the cost. So it's still valid and actually useful for the simple fact that it's not stagnant. And it's something that was a resource that is still, we can equate to today's costs, which is so as things start to tighten up with these capital improvements, we've got to have more of a laser focus and be as transparent with you guys with things you'll start seeing come across that we're seeking improvement. So that brings closure with this report. Just questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the board?
I just want to say I appreciate the Bureau Veritas update. I remember when that was undertaken. That was a tremendous project that facilities had taken at one point. I'm so glad that you've gone back to it and are able to use it and make use of it moving forward, because I remember it was a huge step forward actually at that time when that occurred for our facilities department. So I'm glad that it's still used.
Just a comment that really, not a request, not a, anything other than a comment, just because we've had conversations around, opportunities to get input from like students and things like that into, some of our budget decisions. So it just came to me when you said work orders under a certain amount, like under $3,000 that we know we can fund and things like that could be a small way of getting input, like things that, again, that we know we can fund, we can make, get some stakeholder input around what's this way or that way. Like that's a really small nugget way. That's how I was thinking of envisioning participatory budgeting. So that's where I was all bringing it back to, because I think this is actually really a small nugget way of doing it, where it's not like you don't have to assign it to a principal or a school or things like that. We can figure out like how it makes sense for us. So again, not a request, but when you mentioned it, the way we're automating it, like, hey, we're gonna have 20 things that are under $10,000, and which one are we gonna do? Like that could be a moment of like students, which one do you want to do at your school? So just kind of making it concrete in a way that's not like $127 million, but like $5,000 type of thing.
So I'm a reframe and I'm not
Sorry,
pushing
because it
back.
was no, go ahead.
Just comment.
Yeah.
So with this, the way this actually works, it's actually having the specialists in the respective areas really investigate and take a look to prioritize what really needs to happen based on life, right? How much life do we have? Is this, even though this is coming up as an item we need to address, do we really need to address it? Okay. I don't know if it's necessarily something I would open up for student input or not, from the fact that they're not specialists in terms of from the capital improvement lens.
Sure.
Where I'm really trying to use students, and this is something me and Mrs. Swigert will be really working on, is around activities and agendas that they want to push, and building in budgetary opportunities to support that. I'll give you a couple for examples. Since I've been working with my student advisory council, I have some of the students who have started, it's an organization called PAN. They're doing something through, and I would have to go to my email to tell you what it stands for. But it's tied in with the whole mentoring piece that they're trying to do at the high school, but also trying to push down to the middle and also EP. So it seems like me being responsible for taking care of lunch for 65 kids and things like that. Transportation for events that they want to do that may not have necessarily been built into the budget. So I'm trying to work with them in that light, in terms of how do I make their lived experience, and especially with them really demonstrating leadership, how do I help them cultivate that and show them that we are supportive of that. So we can work through this to see what makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are some of the pieces that are coming to light already.
That, to be honest, that might be a new development. That might be a new development, but that is sort of like, that's kind of like what are the opportunities? So I'm gonna pause here because this is a tangent from,
Right.
Because I wasn't trying to say let's use Bureau Veritas.
Okay.
And get students in Bureau Veritas.
Gotcha.
What I was trying to say is like the end products.
Right.
Let's just scratch that for now. But the what you just mentioned, the development around like students, the activities that they're doing, things that aren't in the budget, and then they have an opportunity to say, no, how do we fund this and how do we make it happen? That in essence is what I was trying to get the heart at around participatory budgeting. So actually that's helpful to hear.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Hopefully we'll hear more as that develops. But
because I'm gonna have them report out.
Yeah.
To you guys, the 21st, we're coming together for a joint session up here. Mrs. Vargas not even aware of that, but like, I have to provide transportation. I actually ride the bus. So I go to each school, so I don't have to pull anybody from the school. Pick the kids up from the high school, pick them up from EP, pick them up from the middle. We come here, we have a joint meeting. We can really unpack the initiatives that they're looking at doing. And I'm really trying to make their agenda items actionable and operationalize them now. So that's where we are.
No problem. That is participatory, but. Yeah, thanks. Sorry for the distraction, but it sparked the.
Wonderful, thank you, and thank you. Any other comments or questions from board members? Anyone from the public?
Hi, Tara, myself, Elkins Park. I have a question and a comment. The question is, during this AC is free.
Yes.
My comment is basically for Dr. Scriven, if you need any assistance or recommendations on feeding 65 from our children, let us know, because we do sometimes football team. So, you're here to help. Thank you.
Yeah, I need some insight, but no, the kids are really trying to empower them, and they're just stepping up, and I commend them. They give up their lunch to be a part of this, and it's pretty powerful what we're developing. So thank you for that offer.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public here, or do we have anyone on Zoom?
Nothing in chat.
Nothing in the chat. All right. I think that about does it. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
No?